Cory Morgan isn't just a familiar face in the Western political landscape. He's been shaping it. As a columnist for the Western Standard and the author of the Sovereigntist Handbook, which I believe is very nearly sold out back there, Cory has been putting Western frustration into words long before it became mainstream. He's blunt, unapologetic, and more interested in solutions than virtue signals. So please welcome a man who calls it like it is on Western separation, Cory Morgan.
Awesome crowd. Oh, I love this. So you're ready to go? I figured that. We've been at this for a while. I've been at this for a while, and I'll explain a bit of that. I want to start, though, something that, the lessons that just keep driving home day by day, week by week. One of the obstacles we're dealing with, we're running across people saying that right now, I'm sure. Well, just hang on. Let's give Carney a chance. Let's see what he'll do. He might be different. Yeah. So I was set up at a broadcast booth at the Global Energy Show in Calgary all of last week. And it's a huge show for those not familiar with it. It's got over 500 companies there. It had politicians, of course, loads, Alberta cabinet ministers, Premier Smith, New Brunswick sent people, Saskatchewan sent people. Ghana had a booth and a representative from their country. The Czech Republic had a booth. You know who wasn't there? Not a single federal representative of this country. Not one. Nothing. Not even a junior bureaucrat. If he is pretending that he's going to get pipelines done, infrastructure done, that was the place to do it. That's where you find the proponents. That's where you find the companies. There's also alternative. It's an energy show. There's solar. There's wind. They couldn't send one person. You know why? Because he's not going to do a friggin' thing. We know it. But we have to convince a lot of other people of that. And the clock's ticking now. The toothpaste is out of the tube. We are, as Ezra said, going to have a referendum within a year. And that's fantastic. We're making history. This has never happened in Western Canada. But it better be a good note in history and not a footnote. And that's up to us. So I'm going to read, as Ezra was saying too, what we can expect from the establishment, what we expect from legacy media. This is from the Globe and Mail. And they said the independence movement is primitive and confused, groping for a platform and searching for a leader. Well, to be honest, they're kind of a little bit right. But the really scary part about that headline, it's from 1980. But that reminds us, we've been doing this for over 40 years. We got to do something different, guys. How many times are we going to run against that wall? How many times can we try and then get out of the starting blocks and then just never get over the finish line? This has to be the time that we cross it. Or we're waiting another 40 years. I don't think I got that in me. I don't want to judge, but there's probably a few people in here might not have it as well. But I mean, I've never seen it like this. I started back when I was 29. I see Darren Popick was here. There's a bunch of us young folks got together, started the Alberta Independence Party at the end of the 90s. And it made a good wave for its time. And then Ralph Klein handily kicked our asses in a general election, and we fell apart as independence parties tend to do. And but we learned a lot. Boy, did we learn a lot. And that's what we've got to go with, is learning. That is why I wrote the book I did. I wanted to share a lot of the mistakes I made. I mean, I share positive things too. But let's stop repeating mistakes. Let's make new mistakes. Eventually, you run out of mistakes. And then you've found the right path. And we're getting there. What we need to do is start a movement. A movement endures. We have groups, parties. They're important. They're integral. The organization is essential. But they also come and go. And a movement never leaves. I've likened it to this movement, way back in 1980, 1984. It was Doug Christie, the Western Canada concept. It came, it calmed. and the Reform Party kind of cooled it down. That's part of why it picked up at the end of the 90s when I got into leading an independence party, was because the Reform Party by that point was failing, and people were realizing, wow, okay, the West wants in, didn't happen, it's turning back into the progressive Conservatives. And later on, we did eventually get Prime Minister Stephen Harper. He was less bad than all the rest. But nothing changed. Nothing changed. The man who authored the firewall letter, well, how many of those aspects in that came out back in 2001, I believe? How many of those things did we get? Have we got our own police force yet? Got our own pension plan yet? Collected our own taxes yet? Fixed our health care yet? Nothing. It's not that Harper's bad. I think Harper's great. He did what he could in a broken system. The reality is, if you want to be in power, you can't cater to the West. You have to cater to Central Canada. Don't take it personally. That's politics. But we got to stop playing the politics, wasting the energy, the oxygen. I mean, we still want to vote for whoever's going to hurt us least, of course. Don't give up on federal politics. But what we've got to focus on now, we've got something we haven't had before, and that's a referendum within a year. And that gives us a target we can laser focus on. I headed off that quote from the Globe and Mail. It's in my book because, again, it teaches us what we've got to watch what we're doing. And that chapter is called Ambassadors for Independence, because what's going to happen today, we got a bunch of fantastic speakers from parties, from media, from groups coming out, and there's going to be a lot to learn here. But we got to come into today and go into this period of history realizing that it's nobody else's job to make Alberta independent except our own. Don't wait for someone else. You'll die waiting. It's our job and it's our responsibility. But a lot of us are new to this. A lot of us haven't done this sort of thing before. We need guidance. We need to figure out how to deal with it. And that is where a referendum is beautiful, because you know what? It's yes or no. It's straightforward. Are we in or are we out? And the sentiment to get out is stronger than ever. But I tell you what, it's not at a winning condition yet. And I say yet. I'm holding optimism here. But we've seen polls, and boy, they're bouncing around like a ping pong ball. I've seen them as low as 18% support and as high as 47%. Let's say it's 30%. Let's say it's 40%. That's still well short of what we need to win. So we got to take it upon ourselves and always be thinking about, what can I do to contribute to bring Alberta to that tipping point? What am I going to do that's going to make it over that 50%? And it's got to be a conscious strategy. You got to take on that mantle. You got to say, I'm an ambassador for independence. And when I go out and talk to people, I'm looking to spread and move this cause. I mean, we're talking about a sensitive subject. Ezra was good on that, and talking too about how Ted Byfield was. We don't want to mock, as tempting as it is. People who've watched my show or watched me on X know I mock people all the time. I'm an asshole. But when I'm trying to convert people, you really do want to be not just an ambassador, but a diplomat. This is sensitive matter. People really feel an emotional attachment to Canada. And I know it's easy to say cold and clinical and say, yes, but look at all the policy, look at the economics, look how foolish that is. Okay, but it doesn't matter. Unless you win their heart, they're not going to put the X on the independence that you need. So you've got to work carefully with people on that. But you can move them. It's going to take some time. It's going to take strategy. And looking for your opportunities to do it. So when you listen to people here, listening to Making the Case, and I talk about it. I don't know if Derek's here yet from the Western Standard, but it's all tactics. I mean, I like my opening, and it's in the book as well. And I've heard other people say it. Start the conversation, whether it's at a kids' hockey game during a break between periods, or whether it's at a family gathering, or whether it's at your local pub, places where you get around people. And you just ask them, if indeed, some of you have probably heard this analogy before, if indeed Alberta was already independent, there's 10 independent states across Canada, and somebody's saying, let's pull them all together and make one big country. Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be strong? Okay. Now, would you vote to join the country under the terms we're living under today? Then why the hell are you putting up with it now? So nobody's going to vote to be underrepresented in the Senate, to be drained with equalization. I looked at those numbers recently. We're seeing the battles coming out. Equalization's a beauty. And it's just the most visible way that we're getting the short end of the stick. But you just do the numbers. And people like saying, Alberta collected equalization once. Yes, they did. Way back at the start of the 60s, about 10 years before I was born. They collected, and I'm a little gray now, they collected $90 million. Well, to put that in perspective, Quebec collects more equalization in 3 days than Alberta collected in 68 years. That's the disparity. So don't tell me we collected some, thus we owe. But again, remaining positive, somewhat. Taking things, Ezra brought it up recently, and it was great. Things for this too. And taking that positivity, we can point out what's bad here, but we've got to talk about what's going to be better later. And I've talked about it like stealing the slogan that Quebec used in their 1995 referendum, but no, we're not stealing it. We paid for it 1,000 times over. It's our slogan. Especially the English version. Because you know what? It's brilliant. It really is. We got to learn from them instead of cursing about them. And it was, yes, and it becomes possible. What a brilliant, simple, one-sentence slogan, because it's positive. It directs the person to what they have to do. They have to vote yes. And it leaves that door wide open for all of the other positives afterwards. It becomes possible after we become out. And that leads a bit to where we have to be a little strategic too. Because we got to watch the rabbit holes. We got to watch from ripping ourselves in 100 directions. We got to watch out for the whataboutisms, because that can kill a debate. And it becomes possible as the day after independence, but we have to push for the independence first. If we allow somebody to pull you into the soup about all the million things that could go wrong, you've lost. And I know it's not a matter of hiding things. We have to answer all those questions. The Alberta Prosperity Project's been doing a fantastic job of building a deep website people can be directed to get some of those. And it's only going to get better and better, I imagine, as it goes. But we have to educate ourselves on that. It's hard when you're talking to somebody at the hockey game to say, yeah, go home and then look up this political site and it'll tell you the answer to your question. So if we educate ourselves, we can answer it on the spot. Because what convinces you more, especially again on something sensitive, something emotional, than talking to somebody you know face to face? That's why even the biggest political campaigns in the world still send the candidate out door knocking as much as humanly possible, because you can't substitute for that face to face. And the only thing better, though, than a candidate showing up at a door, if you're talking about a concept, a movement, what we're trying to build is a friend or a family member or a coworker. You know, there's bloviators like me on independent media. There's politicians all over the place. There's all sorts of people trying to bend people's ears, and they have an impact and a role. But nobody will make a bigger impact than a friend, because that's somebody you know, that's somebody you trust, that's somebody you feel comfortable asking a question about, and the questions are legitimate. I got to fight it too. Like I said, I'm a crabby soul. And somebody asks something I've heard 100 times, I want to grab them by the neck. Didn't you hear the fast 10 answers? Okay, that's not helping. Helps me a little, but it doesn't help them. And it doesn't help our cause. That's not what an ambassador does. And that clock's going to go fast. So we've got some simple timelines ahead of us. And, some people have been saying, why hasn't Premier Smith come out in support of independence? Well, she wasn't elected for that. To be blunt and honest, that wasn't her platform. She did the best thing any sitting premier can do for somebody who wants independence. She gave us the mechanism to do it ourselves if we choose to, and we do it right and we get it there. So we've got to do that. And again, the APP's already been on that. If that's the question, it turns out when the time comes, when the referendum goes, great, that's what we'll go with. If it's a different question, whatever it might be, but we're going to get one. Petitioning. It's a lot more work than a lot of people realize. If you haven't gone out and actually gone door to door to get signatures on a petition, you don't quite understand. Like, people say, oh, I can go online and I see tens of thousands of signatures on a petition. Yeah. I could go on X and get a petition, calling for Nenshi to have his hair shaved off, and I'd probably get 100,000, people sign within a couple of days. But a real paper petition on government with name, address, phone number, and it has to have all of those things. It has to have your home address. Those are little mistakes you make. Box number, it's going to be rejected. Written outside the lines, it's going to be rejected. And we are living in a world with a lack of trust right now. A lot of people aren't comfortable giving that personal information out to others. This is independence. As Ezra said, they're going to pull out the stops. They're going to demonize us. Not everybody's totally confident that that information isn't going to be shared somewhere and they could lose their job or get pressured by family members or all sorts of things. We can get those signatures, and we will, but it's not easy. It's a lot of work. I mean, a good petitioner going door to door, a good one, will get 100 a day. When you need 177,000, and that's the baseline, realistically, as I said, with all the messed up signatures, we're looking more like 200,000, which is achievable, most definitely. But it's a heck of a lot of work. And you've got to get that done. And we will. But I'm just talking about the progressions of steps. And people are thinking something's going to happen this fall for a vote or something like that. That's not there, not even close. But there's going to be a lot to do. But we're not into that. But the second that's finally accepted, let's say that the petitioning got done, it got accepted in November, it's official, there's going to be a referendum on independence. Great. Then it's up to the provincial government to set the date. I'm just guessing. I'm certainly not on the inside there. Probably late spring, like we're talking about a year from now. Then the campaign really, really begins. So have we, in that 5 months we got, are we going to be able to build that movement? Are we going to make that tipping point? Are we going to turn it from the 30, 40 to beyond 50 that we need? Again, it's up to us. And this is where we start. It's rooms like this. It's getting those tools. It's networking. It's learning more. It's asking questions. I learn at these too. That's what I love about these. I mean, I've got plenty to learn, as you know, because I write books on my mistakes. I need new ones so I can keep padding it, put up my second edition. But this event's are a start. But now it has to become organic. It has to spread. It's like the old Amway system, though you don't have to annoy people so much with detergents and soaps. But if you can find a few more people here, a few more people there, and then you convince them to spread it to others, and it keeps going. And the parties and groups are going to be doing that as well. But nobody is more powerful than you. And it's in our hands to make this happen or to blow it up. So let's make it happen, guys. We've got the experts in today. We're going to have the debates. We're going to have the talk. And this is a fantastic room. So thank you for listening to me here, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the discussions today.
Thank you, Cory. Did we sell all your books, Cory? They're all gone? Books are gone? Sold out. You'll have to go on Amazon.